Alright kids, welcome back to the channel. Sorry this table is such a shit show, but we got multiple projects going on here. This video is kind of something that is one of those things where you have all these parts laying around and winter's coming and your toys have to get put away when you live in Pennsylvania. So I figured I'd take the time, since the weather is still halfway decent, finish up a few little small projects on my red step side. So what I'm doing is, this is the A-pillar trim. I'm sure a lot of people have seen these gauge pods. This is from Autometer, part number 17103. Had this on the shelf for a couple years now. Had all these gauges for a couple years now. So what I'm doing is, in the future, I have a supercharger for it, so I'm putting in a boost gauge. I already have a trans temp sending unit in the pan, but I never hooked up the gauge, so I'm going to put that in there. And I also have a wideband from Innovate. I've had one of these on my Z28 years ago, and I really liked it, so I got another one for this one. So currently, I'm in the process of the holes in this for the gauges. They were fitting a little too tight. So basically I just took this little worn out flap wheel on the Dremel and just gently went around the inside of the hole a little bit, just to, you know, kind of deburr it or whatever, to get the gauges to fit snug, but yet still be able to get them in and out, because once they're in there, there's no way to really put a thing on the back to hold it like a normal gauge pod. So currently that's what I'm working on. So then we'll move on to step 2 here shortly. So this is the third one. I already did these two before I started filming, but the third one is done now. As you can see, it goes in there and there's no real room. So like I said, they went in super way tight, tighter than they should be. So if you do decide you want to open these holes up a little bit, just go slow, careful, because if you go too much, then you might get in a situation where you have to figure out how to hold these in from the back. So now that this is done, now I need to fit it to the A-pillar and go from there. Alright, so here's the instructions for this gauge pillar. It says drill 3/16" holes, and then they provide these plastic push pins. There's 6 of them. It says to go in all 4 corners, but since there's 6 of them, and I even may have more in the back, I might put a couple extra in it just for fun. So it fits really nice, as far as like it going over top of your A-pillar. I'm just using vice grips just to hold it still, so I get the hole drilled in it real gentle, so I'm not breaking any of the plastic or whatever. So I'm gonna start poking holes and putting the pins in. Okay, so 6 holes later, all the push pins are in. It fits really good, except since now that I have everything on there, this end part, it's kind of hard to see on camera, but it's pretty tight right in this area. So what I'm probably going to do is take the Dremel and relieve this corner, because it's obviously going to be down in the dash. You're not going to see it anyway. So that's my next step. Alright, so wanted to follow up a little bit. So today, what I did was created an opening here for all the wires, you know, for when the gauges, for them to come through, because with this being as tight as it fits to the A-pillar trim, you can't come behind it, so it has to come through. Now you could probably get away with just doing like holes just for each individual gauge, but I decided to get an extra mile. I used hole saw, went buzz there, buzz here, and then just used a cutoff wheel on the Dremel and connected the dots. The panel's trashed anyway, or whether or not I take this thing off, so I figured I might as well cut a big hole in it. So next up is I also went through the razor blade and trimmed off all the tips of the push pins, so they're flush at the inside here. I don't know if that matters or not, but I figured what the hell. I'm getting ready to paint this. I need to blow the rest of the plastic fragments off of it that are still in there, and then I'm gonna do a Duplicolor prep wipe towelette thing and some Duplicolor vinyl and fabric. This color is light silver. They did not have a light gray. I highly doubt it's gonna match, but it should be pretty close, or close enough for a race truck, right?
Nope.
We'll see. Well, it's painted. Yep. One light coat, hit it with a pretty heavy coat. It is kind of silvery. It's not horrible. It's better than my butternut yellow dash on my crew cab, so it is what it is. Okay, so it's been a few days, but we're getting back on this gauge pillar project. I believe I said that I repainted it, and I got some, what the brand's called Magic, and it was from Rural King, and it's tractor and implement paint, and this is they call it primer gray, and this is the closest thing I've found to my interior yet. Duplicolor needs to get their shit together, but anyway, it looks a lot better than that silver shit that I got from them. So now I'm gonna get these put in here and start the wiring project. Okay, so A-pillar is back installed with the gauges, and the spaghetti show is all hanging out there, and we'll need connected to the various things. One point, if you are doing this, at least in an OBS truck, the odometer gauge pod, this part went there, and the only way we could get this in here was cutting that off, which is fine because it looks just fine. But you got to put the A-pillar back in first, and then put the odometer gauge pod onto it once it's in the truck, because it's impossible to do because this gauge hits the dash. So just a little bulletin.
Okay, so I have the power and grounds connected. That's all I've done so far. But whenever you turn on the key, the train stump jumps up a little bit like it's supposed to, and the AFR loses its mind because it's not connected to anything. But it still functions, so good news, huh? As far as connections go in here, everything is done. Now gotta connect that O2 sensor out there into this free air thing and just run it down the exhaust, and then everything should be done for now. Alrighty, so everything's all hooked up. Yeah, now it finally stabilized. Now it's sitting around 15, but whenever I juice it, it does go down like it's supposed to, obviously, but it should hover around the 14.7. At least that's what the BCM's supposed to do. So that's working. I don't know if the trainee's working for a little while, but we'll see. Next!
Alright, so next up on the chopping block of little jobs I want to get done on this truck before winter is I've had these hood pins laying around for quite some time, and gonna go ahead and throw them on. In case anybody's curious about what kit I'm using, the company's called OMP. Part number is EB/490. Comes with 2 pins, 2 locking pins, hardware, and actually these are metal. They're not plastic as I assumed that they were, but it's kind of cool. So let's get to drilling. Alright kids, so did a lot of screwing around with this, trying to figure out the best way to do it. The reason why it's a little bit difficult on the OBS trucks is the core support is boxed in from the bottom, so there really is no access point underneath to get to the bottom nut to hold it still while you tighten the top nut. So because originally I was going to put them here where the original bump stops went, but I can't get in there either. So what I've opted to do is I'm going to use Christmas tree bit. I'm going to make this hole big enough that I can get a closed-in wrench in there with a nut tape to it. I've mapped this out equally on both sides. I took this out and used this as a reference point. 5.5 inches this way from this edge down, 2 5/16. There's my spot to drill. I've also duplicated it over here on the passenger side, so it should be pretty damn close. I have also made sure that there's going to be a spot in the hood where nothing's going to hit. As far as bolting the other half of that down, should be fine. So now I'm going to get to drilling, I guess.
Later that day.
Okay, so it worked out. Made this hole bigger, able to get the wrench in there, get the nut on the bottom. These are all fastened in here. The height is not adjusted yet because I still have to use the tips to make the marks on the hood to drill those holes, but so far it's all coming together. So that'll be the next step. Come tomorrow is finish off the hood part.
Well, I'll be.
Be what?
Square? Circle?
Cool.
The next day.
Alright kids, so next step is we need to get some holes drilled in the hood. Now, what I've done was I've already cut out the area where the pin goes through down the road. The insulation is probably going to be off of this completely because of the supercharger and what I'm going to do for vents. So I just took a razor blade and just cut a chunk. So if you notice, I put some blue tape on there on both sides using this point. It made witness marks on both sides, and actually, if you can see it actually made little dimples as well. So I'm going to draw a pilot hole from underneath and then come in from the top and draw the size for the pin. Alright, so we have the holes in the hood. The pins are coming up through. Now, before I started this, based on the angles of the hood and where I mounted these pins on the core support, the pins somewhat laid backwards towards the hood, which means that these pins, since they're designed to go through here and through there, it's not going to work. The angles are way off. So, in order to fix this problem, I'm going to turn the pin 90 degrees so the hole is coming this way because it's a flat plane, and then I'm going to mount these like that. And it may not be traditional for anybody else that's put hood pins on stuff, but you know what, it's going to work and I don't really care. So let's see what that does. Alright kids, so I'm getting ready to put the last piece onto the hood, but I wanted to point out some flaws in this OMP kit. I can't remember what the part number, EB590 or something, I don't know. Anyway, I got these a couple years ago from Summit thinking that they were going to be better than your average Mr. Gaskell ones hanging in any part store. But after I got this stuff put on here, or working on getting it put on here, I noticed that their attention to detail is not great. First of all, it's hard to see, but the part where the pin goes through, I actually had to use a drill bit to open them up because there was all kinds of casting flaws in it. It wasn't even an actual circle, and the pin, even without going through anything, would fit super tight going in there. This next problem, they created this little trough here to allow for the base of that to slide in there. Problem being is this is wider than the trough, so as you go to put this through, it constantly gets hung up right here. Now a little bit of Dremel or something, I could open that up, make it better, but that's not the point. When you spend 40-50 bucks on something, you expect it to be ready to go. And the last complaint that I have is this ridiculous hardware. These nuts are a 5/32. They are super tiny, and the only way I've found to actually get them threaded on was to take a piece of tape, stick them in a socket to get them started on there, because they're so tiny, adult hands, you're gonna end up losing them. So I've done different sets of hood pins on different vehicles over the years, and by far this is the worst kit. Oh, and the last thing too, They didn't even come with the cable lanyards to hook the pins to, so when you pull them out, you can just let them drape over the front of the vehicle, which maybe some people use them, some people don't, but it would have been nice to give them that option. So I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet, but if I do, I'm going to have to get some lanyards off eBay or something, or else, I don't know, put them in the truck every time I open the hood. I don't know, but not a fan.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
Alright, boys and girls, there we have it. Both are mounted, pins are in. It was kind of a fight, but at least they're on there. Oh, and BT Dubs, I complained about the hardware earlier, and one of the bolts on this side did snap as I was tightening up the nut, so pretty crappy. So finally, after 2 different attempts at Amazon, I finally found some lanyards for the pins, and all I did is just bolt them down to the course port. That way, pull the pins, they can just hang there, and I'll show you what it looks like when the hood's shut. Alright, there you go. Cables are attached. Looks official now. Racetrack.
Okay, so everything is finished. Everything works. Did test the training template, does go up a little bit. Obviously, not much strain on it. Do need to fix the light in here. There are problems, usually. AFR worked just fine. Hood pins, as you saw, they're here complete with lanyards and stuff.
Yes, it's official.
So, where are we going to be Friday and Saturday?
Friday and Saturday, we're going to be in Tucson, Arizona. We fly out of here Wednesday. We're going to be at Duct Tape Drags. So hopefully we meet some fans or make some new ones or whatever.
And
so hope you enjoyed this video. We're trying to throw it together at the last minute so we got something out there. But there's another video coming after we get back from Tucson that I think a lot of you are going to like, and some other people may be a fan, because we bought a new toy. So, Duct Tape Drags in, I don't know, 5 days or something?
yeah, roughly. We'll go with that.
So, yeah, be there.